There are battles you cannot see, struggles that go deeper than what any eye could witness. Yet in the invisible, a victory has already been declared in your name. You are not walking through this season alone. Every step you take, the divine is stepping with you. Every breath you breathe, the divine breath is breathing through you. The outcome isn't uncertain, the result isn't questionable. The end has already been written, and victory is the only conclusion. Where you are right now is not where you will remain. The pressure you feel is a signal a transformation is underway. What appears as resistance is actually the universe reshaping circumstances so your blessing can arrive fully complete. God is aligning people, resources, opportunities, and miracles to show up right on time. Don't judge the story by the chapter you're currently reading. The author of your life has already written the triumph. Your current obstacles are not proof of defeat, they are proof of destiny. A great shift happens when you choose to see beyond what your senses report. You are meant to rise right here, right now, even in the middle of the struggle. When doubt tries to speak, silence it with the voice of assurance. It is already done. Because once you accept the victory within, the world must reshuffle itself to match your inner acceptance. You may not see how things will work out, but you don't need to. The how is not your battle. That is where God fights for you. Your only part is to believe in the finished outcome. Hold the end result in your inner vision. Feel the joy of the answered prayer. Feel the relief of the breakthrough already yours. When you claim the end, all forces, visible and invisible, move to fulfill it. Don't give up, because the battle is hardest right before the breakthrough. Don't lose hope, because the darkness deepens right before the light breaks open. Behind the scenes, the victory has already been signed, sealed, and delivered. What you are waiting for is waiting for the right moment to appear in your reality. Stand firm, keep the vision alive, keep declaring the final result. Every battle you face is a testimony in the making. Every tear is watering a miracle. Every setback is positioning you for a greater comeback. Victory is not coming, it is here, stepping closer every day. Hold your head high. Walk in confidence. The God who started the blessing is finishing it. The God who promised is delivering. Your victory is unstoppable. Your breakthrough is inevitable. Your story is shifting into glory. Don't give up, because everything you've prayed for is already on its way. There is a realm beyond what your physical eyes can observe, a sacred territory where the unseen takes shape long before it becomes visible in your world. Every desire placed in your heart, every dream that refuses to leave your mind, every whisper of hope that surfaces even in your darkest moments, these are not random. They are evidence that something already exists for you in the invisible. The unseen realm is preparing your victory, crafting the path and aligning the perfect timing so that what is already true spiritually becomes undeniable physically. You are not meant to chase what you want. You are meant to align with what is already yours. When you understand that your victory exists right now, not in some distant future, you release the pressure, the fear, and the doubt that tries to convince you otherwise. You begin to walk with a calm certainty. You speak with authority. You think from the result, not toward it. Because once you know that the outcome is finished, all waiting becomes expectancy instead of anxiety. The unseen realm responds to the state you occupy. When you choose to feel victorious, even when everything looks against you, the external reality has no choice but to transform. What you accept within becomes what you experience without. A seed is planted below the surface long before the sprout appears. Yet no one questions whether the seed is working. In the same way, your blessing is working beneath the surface of your current challenges. You may not see movement, but the miracle is advancing. You may not hear progress, but the doors are unlocking. You may not feel change yet, but transformation is happening in silence. The delays you face are not pauses of abandonment. They are periods of divine preparation. The unseen is arranging the pieces, people, opportunities, resources, lessons, so that when the manifestation appears, it arrives complete. Sometimes the invisible victory is developing you, strengthening your faith, refining your inner identity so that you can hold what you asked for, without letting fear or doubt steal it from your hands. If you only look to the physical world for proof, you will become discouraged. But if you look inward, into the realm where imagination, faith, and belief operate, you will see that the victory is already yours. You can feel it. You can sense it. You can claim it. It is waiting for the moment you fully accept it as done. This is why you cannot give up. Surrender the need to see the entire path. Stand firm in the truth that what you desire is not being withheld from you, it is being completed for you. The unseen realm is not working against you, it is working for you, shaping every possibility to ensure that your blessing fits your life flawlessly. Walk forward knowing this. Your victory is not a future promise. It is a present reality preparing to reveal itself. Stay faithful. Stay expectant. Stay aligned. What you have asked for already exists, and soon you will see it with your own eyes. Every challenge you face carries a hidden purpose. It is not there to break you, but to build you. When life places a mountain before you, it is not a sign that you are weak. It is a confirmation that greatness is being activated within you. Challenges are spiritual invitations, signals that you are stepping into a new level of strength, faith, and personal evolution. The divine does not test you to see if you will fail. The divine tests you to show you that you are stronger than you ever believed. In the moments when you feel pressure rising, when circumstances seem too heavy to carry, something powerful is taking shape within you. Your endurance is expanding. Your courage is awakening. Your belief in yourself and in the unseen support around you is being anchored deeper. Without resistance, muscles cannot grow. Without adversity, power cannot be realized. Challenges introduce you to the version of yourself you were always meant to become, the one who stands taller, believes boldly, and knows their worth without hesitation. Divine intervention often arrives in the very places where you feel the most outmatched. When you reach the edge of your own strength, that is where a higher strength rises. When you have done all you can and still feel stuck, that is when the unseen forces begin to move. Problems create the space where miracles can appear. Without a need, there is no rescue. Without a conflict, there is no victory. The divine steps into the story not when everything makes sense, but when you continue to trust, even when nothing does. Many times, the challenge is not meant to change what is happening around you, it is meant to change what is happening within you. It teaches you perseverance, emotional mastery, inner clarity. It reveals your resilience and redefines what you believe is possible. You learn that you can survive storms, rise after falling, and keep your faith even in darkness. Every time you choose hope over fear, persistence over surrender, faith over doubt, you unlock a new level of your own power. What looks like a setback is actually a setup. It is preparing everything necessary for a breakthrough far greater than what you would have received without the struggle. Sometimes God allows you to face what seems impossible so you will witness what only the divine can do. The challenge strengthens your belief because you don't just talk about faith, you experience it. You don't just claim power, you embody it. When you look back later, you will see clearly the hardest parts of your journey were the most important. They pushed you into your destiny. They awakened your gifts. They connected you with purpose. They made you unstoppable. So do not fear your challenges. Do not run from them. Meet them, knowing that you are not facing them alone. Within every difficulty lies a miracle in progress and a higher version of you emerging. The challenge is temporary, but the power you gain from it is eternal. Your imagination is the birthplace of every victory you will ever experience. The true battle is not fought in the physical world, it is fought within your mind, in the silent places where no one can see. Every thought you dwell upon, every image you entertain, every outcome you believe in or fear, these are the weapons that either defeat you or deliver you. The world outside of you is merely a mirror, reflecting the state you consistently hold inside. To change what you see around you, you must first transform what you accept within. When you imagine the worst, you enroll your mind in stories of defeat, and life bends in that direction. When you imagine the best, you command life to follow the path of your belief. Imagination is not daydreaming, it is creation. It is a spiritual blueprint that your reality must eventually match. You become the full architect of your experiences when you recognize that the images you allow to occupy your inner space are shaping your tomorrow. The battle begins with awareness. Are you rehearsing fear or feeding faith? Are you picturing obstacles or outcomes? Are you letting doubt narrate your future or allowing confidence to lead? What you return to internally is what you build externally. Every victory is won before it manifests. Every breakthrough is formed in the invisible. The moment you decide that you will not accept defeat inside, the world loses its power to defeat you outside. Life will try to distract you with appearances. Circumstances may attempt to convince you that hope is foolish. But appearances are only temporary. They are delayed reflections of your past beliefs. The future you desire is shaped by what you choose to think and feel now. If you hold a victorious picture of yourself, strong, successful, healed, thriving, then the world must rise to confirm that picture. The universe is compelled to follow the command of your dominant vision. When you imagine from the end result, feeling it complete, embracing its certainty, you shift into the identity of someone who already possesses the blessing. That shift is what moves mountains. That shift is what opens doors. That shift is what calls opportunities, resources, and miracles into your life. You are not wishing, you are creating. You are aligning with what is already yours in the unseen. Train your imagination to work for you, not against you. Guard it like the sacred battleground it is. When doubt enters, replace it with a vision of triumph. When fear appears, transform it into a picture of faith fulfilled. Do not allow the outer world to rewrite the truth you hold within, because the moment you win inside, the moment you feel the certainty of victory in your heart, the world must obey, has no option but to rearrange itself to reflect what you have already claimed. You are equipped for this battle. You are powerful beyond measure. With every inner victory, you are bringing your breakthrough closer into sight. And soon, what you once imagined will stand before you as undeniable reality. Faith is a quiet certainty that lives deeper than emotion, stronger than circumstance, and louder than doubt. It is not a fragile wish or a desperate hope that something might happen. Faith is the unwavering knowing that the outcome you seek is already complete, already yours, long before your senses confirm it. Hope waits for proof. Faith celebrates the result before there is a sign. Hope looks forward to the blessing. Faith knows the blessing is already established in the unseen realm, simply waiting for its appointed moment to appear. When you operate from true faith, you stop asking if it will happen and start living as though it already has. You think from the end result. You speak from the fulfilled outcome. You feel the gratitude of a prayer already answered. There is no more negotiation with fear or wrestling with possibilities. You stand firmly in the truth that what you desire has been claimed and cannot be taken from you. Faith is not blind. It sees with a clearer vision than physical sight. It sees beyond obstacles, beyond delays, beyond the current state of things. It sees into the realm where everything you want is real and waiting to unfold. This knowing changes how you carry yourself. You walk differently. You think differently. You expect differently. Even when your environment shows lack, you feel abundance. Even when the door seems closed, you know another is opening. Even when people doubt, you remain anchored, because the outcome does not depend on them, it depends on your belief. The moment you decide the result is finished, the world begins rearranging itself to reflect your decision. The right opportunities rise, the right connections appear, the right timing unfolds. Faith sets the universe in motion because it is the highest form of agreement between you and the divine. When you claim the end, all forces, both seen and unseen, move to deliver it into your reality. Challenges may still come, but they do not weaken your conviction. Delays may occur, but they do not shake your certainty, because faith says, if I have it within, I will have it without. Faith does not panic in silence or feel abandoned in waiting. Faith understands that the manifestation is aligning perfectly, not late, not lacking, not lost. It is simply maturing into its full expression. This is why faith is powerful. It refuses to bow to appearances. It refuses to surrender to fear. It refuses to let temporary conditions define permanent truth. Faith holds completion in the heart long before it arrives in the world. And when you hold the completion long enough, the world must reflect it. So do not just hope for the blessing, own it. Do not just wish for the breakthrough, embody it. Act, speak, and feel like the result is already delivered. Because when your inner knowing becomes unshakable, the outer reality has no choice but to obey. The end is finished. The promise is secure. The victory belongs to you now. Delays are one of the greatest misunderstandings in the journey of faith. When what you desire does not appear right away, the mind rushes to conclusions. Maybe it's not meant for me. Maybe I made a mistake. Maybe God isn't listening. But in truth, a delay is not a rejection. It is an alignment. It is the space where the unseen world organizes every detail so that when your manifestation arrives, it arrives complete, stable, and perfectly suited for your life. There are blessings too big to appear before you are ready to carry them. There are opportunities too meaningful to arrive before your character, your faith, and your identity have expanded enough to sustain them. The delay is a season of preparation, not only of the blessing, but of you. During the waiting, the universe is shaping you into the version of yourself who can handle what you ask for without fear, without sabotage, and without shrinking. In the delay, you learn the strength of patience. You practice the art of trust. You discover the depth of your belief when the evidence is invisible. You are stretched beyond the comfort of instant gratification into the maturity of knowing. If it is mine, then it is already written. You stop chasing outcomes and start aligning with them. You shift from wanting to having in your inner world, and that shift magnetizes the outer world to match. Cutting is a form of protection. If the blessing arrives too soon, it can overwhelm. If it arrives too late, the heart can grow tired. But when it arrives right on time, it feels effortless, as though the entire universe conspired to bring everything together in one beautiful moment of fulfillment. What you are waiting for might be waiting for another piece to fall into place, a person you must meet, a door that must open, a skill you must complete. The delay is not empty time. It is sacred time. It is the incubation period where what you manifested in imagination begins to take form in the physical. Just as a seed must remain underground, unseen, before the sprout emerges, your desire is growing where you cannot yet witness it. The silence is not absence, it is development. The stillness does not mean nothing is happening, it means everything is being prepared perfectly. When impatience rises, remind yourself that the universe has not forgotten you. When doubt whispers, remember that your blessing is not being held back, it is being perfected. Nothing good is ever withheld. What is meant for you cannot miss you, and every moment of waiting is pulling you closer to the breakthrough that has always been destined. Hold your faith not by the calendar, but by the certainty that what is yours is inevitable. Trust the timing, honor the process, stay aligned with the end result. Because when the moment is right, what once felt delayed will arrive with such grace and clarity that you will say, "This was worth waiting for." Persistence is the evidence that you already believe the outcome belongs to you. When you persist in a vision, when you keep holding the end result in your mind despite what the outer world shows, you are proving your faith, your certainty, and your alignment with what you have claimed. Persistence is not struggling or forcing things to happen. It is staying loyal to your desire, no matter how loudly circumstances attempt to contradict it. It is the inner stance that says, "I will not quit because the end is already mine." Every breakthrough requires the language of persistence. The moment you choose to hold a new reality inside yourself, the old reality often rises up to challenge you. Not because you are wrong, but because you are shifting into something greater. The world outside reflects past beliefs, and persistence is the bridge that moves you from the old to the new. When challenges appear, when delays stretch longer than expected, when doubt tries to creep in, your persistence reminds you that the story is not over. You keep the vision alive, and because of that, the end must unfold. Persistence is proof of identity. When you persist, you are stepping into the version of yourself who already has what you desire. You think as them, you act as them, you feel as them. That identity shift is what triggers the change in your external world. Life is always responding to the person you believe you are. Persist in the identity of success, and success becomes inevitable. Persist in the identity of love, and love must appear. Persist in the identity of abundance, and abundance cannot be stopped. It is easy to hold faith when everything is going right, when signs are everywhere, when progress is visible. But true persistence shows its power in the silent seasons, when nothing seems to move, when prayers feel unanswered, when you walk blindly, guided only by your inner knowing. Those are the moments when the universe is watching to see if you truly believe. Those are the moments when miracles are being arranged, tested, and prepared. Persistence is not you waiting on the blessing. It is the blessing waiting on your unwavering commitment. Every time you stay loyal to the end result in your heart, you weaken the old reality's grip on you. Every time you refuse to settle for less than what you envisioned, you command the transformation to continue. Persistence is a declaration. I choose the promised outcome over temporary appearances. And because the world must follow the dominant internal state, the end you hold must unfold into form. You are not persisting towards something uncertain. You are persisting from the truth that it is already done. You keep going because you know the finish line has been crossed in the unseen. You hold the feeling of completion until the outer world has no choice but to reflect it. So persist with courage. Persist with peace. Persist with the confidence that your desire is not running from you, it is running toward you. Your persistence is your proof, and proof always manifests. Every part of your journey, every challenge, every delay, every unseen battle has been evolving you into the person who can receive the victory already written in your name. Nothing you are facing is working against you. The unseen realm is aligning miracles. Divine intervention is unfolding behind the scenes. Your imagination is commanding the world to shift. Your unwavering faith is sealing the outcome, and your persistence is proving that what you desire is already yours. You are not fighting for victory. You are fighting from victory. The blessing exists. The breakthrough is on its way. The promise is alive within you. Hold the end in your heart and refuse to let go. Because when you remain aligned with the finished result must appear. Walk forward with confidence. Stand strong in belief. Never let temporary appearances convince you of anything less than the truth. God is fighting your battles, and your triumph is guaranteed. Your story is not over. The best chapters are unfolding right now. Victory is coming soon. Don't give up. You are closer than you think. Thank you for listening, and may your faith lead you straight into the amazing future that already belongs to you, my friend. You may not see it right now, but everything is working together for your good. the pieces that look scattered, the doors that closed, the moments that broke you, they are all being woven by divine hands into something breathtaking. You are not forgotten. You are being positioned. When God works, He often works in silence. He doesn't announce the process, He perfects it. What you call confusion is divine construction. What you call delay is spiritual alignment. God is rearranging the unseen realm to make everything fit your highest good. There are moments in life when the path feels uncertain, when what you prayed for seems far away. That's when the temptation comes to doubt, to question, to worry. But trust this truth. Faith begins where understanding ends. Faith doesn't need to see evidence, it creates it. When you believe that everything is already working out, life starts reflecting that belief. Circumstances bend to your inner conviction. The universe mirrors your inner trust. You begin to walk not as one hoping for favor, but as one carrying it. So stop asking when and start saying thank you. Every challenge, every closed door, every heartbreak, it's not rejection, it's redirection. The divine knows the path that will bring you the greatest fulfillment. What feels like delay is really preparation for divine timing. You may think God has forgotten your prayer, but He's actually protecting it. He's shaping you into the person who can hold the blessing that's coming. The seed doesn't question the soil, it simply trusts the process. It knows that what's buried today will bloom tomorrow. So today, release your worry. Let go of the how and the when. Your only job is to believe, to dwell in the feeling that it's already done. Close your eyes and feel the reality of your answered prayer. Feel the peace of knowing that God has gone before you. Walk as if your miracle is already manifesting, because it is. You are not waiting on the blessing. The blessing is waiting on your trust. Every moment, every change, every unseen shift is working for your favor. So rest in this truth. You are guided, you are favored, and nothing is against you. The process may not look perfect, but it is divine. And one day soon you'll look back and realize every delay, every detour, every disappointment was God's perfect choreography bringing you into destiny. Trust the process. It's all working in your favor. It always has been. Everything that happens in your life, both the good and the challenging, is part of a greater orchestration, a divine rearrangement that is silently unfolding in your favor. It's easy to trust God when things make sense, when doors open smoothly, when opportunities align perfectly. But the real test of faith begins when the pieces seem scattered, when progress feels distant, and when your prayers appear unanswered. Yet even then, behind the confusion, God is at work, arranging every detail with precision and purpose. What looks like a setback is often a setup for something greater. The delays you face are not denials, they are divine strategies designed to position you exactly where you need to be. Every closed door, every unexpected turn, every disappointment has meaning. There are moments when it feels like nothing is happening, but that silence is not absence, it's preparation. God is shifting circumstances, moving people, and aligning opportunities that you cannot yet see. The unseen rearrangement is happening in the invisible realm long before it appears in the visible one. Your responsibility is not to figure out how it's happening, but to trust that it is. Faith means believing that while you cannot see the full picture, the artist never stops painting. Think of it like a master weaver at work. From the front, the tapestry looks beautiful and complete, but from the back, all you see are tangled threads, knots, and chaos. Your life may look like the back of that tapestry right now. You see confusion, frustration, and delays, but God sees the front side. He sees the design, the masterpiece, the finished work. Every wrong turn is being woven into something that will ultimately make sense. Nothing is wasted, not a single tear, not a single moment. There's divine intelligence behind every event, no matter how random it appears. That job you lost, it's making room for one that fits your purpose. That relationship that ended, it's clearing space for one that will honor your worth. That opportunity that fell through, it wasn't rejection, it was redirection. God's rearrangement always involves movement, and movement often feels uncomfortable. But remember, discomfort is the evidence that transformation is taking place. When you learn to rest in that truth, peace replaces panic. You stop fighting against what's leaving and start welcoming what's coming. You begin to see that every delay has meaning and every detour carries direction. The unseen rearrangement of your life isn't about punishment, it's about preparation. God is making sure that when the blessing arrives, you are ready to receive it fully, without fear, doubt, or limitation. So, even when nothing seems to make sense, stay anchored in faith. Something divine is happening behind the scenes. The doors that close are leading you toward the ones that matter. The pain you feel today is creating the strength you'll need tomorrow. What looks like chaos is actually choreography. God is not late, He's strategic. And when the rearrangement is complete, you'll see how every piece was always working in your favor. Life is not responding to what you want, it's responding to what you believe. Every experience, every encounter, every outcome is a reflection of the inner state you carry. The outer world is like a mirror. It faithfully reflects the images of your inner convictions, thoughts, and emotions. When you trust that God is working for you, your vibration changes, your energy shifts, and the circumstances around you begin to realign with that faith. What you hold within, your faith, your peace, your certainty, becomes the blueprint that shapes the world you see outside of you. This faith, you cannot walk in doubt internally and expect clarity externally. You cannot carry fear and attract peace. You cannot live in limitation and expect expansion. The law of life is simple but profound. As within, so without. What's going on inside you is constantly being echoed in the outer world. When your heart is filled with trust, gratitude, and assurance, your environment starts to mirror that frequency. Doors open, people respond differently, opportunities find you effortlessly, not because you're forcing them, but because your inner faith has become magnetic. When you believe that God is working behind the scenes, you stop striving and start aligning. You no longer chase outcomes, you attract them through your certainty. You begin to see life not as a series of random events, but as a spiritual reflection of your consciousness. Every challenge that arises becomes an opportunity to practice faith. Every delay becomes a lesson in surrender. Every moment becomes a chance to choose trust over fear. Imagine holding a lens covered in dust and trying to look through it. Everything outside looks unclear. not because the world is unclear, but because your lens is. Your inner state is that lens. When it's clouded by worry, doubt, or resentment, the world appears harsh and uncertain. But when your inner lens is clear, with faith, peace, and gratitude, the same world begins to look radiant and full of possibility. The outer world doesn't change first, you do. And once you do, the world must follow suit. That's why inner work is spiritual work. Prayer, meditation, gratitude, and faith aren't just rituals, they are acts of realignment. They tune your inner frequency to the divine rhythm of favor and grace. The more you dwell in the feeling that God is for you, the more life bends to confirm it. Circumstances shift, people appear, solutions unfold, all reflecting the conviction that already lives inside you. If your outer world feels chaotic, don't try to fix the mirror, clean the reflection, adjust your inner state. Affirm peace even when you don't see it. Give thanks even when nothing looks right. Hold the inner picture of your desired outcome and let your heart rest in the assurance that it is already done. When your inner belief aligns with divine truth, the outer world has no choice but to rearrange itself accordingly. So, choose faith over fear, gratitude over worry, and certainty over doubt. Trust that God is always working in your favor, and your world will begin to reflect that trust. The moment you change within, everything outside of you begins to shift. Faith is not the absence of reason, it is the presence of divine vision. It is the bridge that connects where you are to where you are destined to be. Faith stands in the gap between the unseen promise and its visible manifestation. It doesn't demand proof, it creates it. Faith is the language of the unseen, the vibration that communicates directly with the divine. When you walk by faith, you are not walking in darkness. You are walking in higher sight, seeing through the eyes of spirit rather than the limitations of the senses. The senses will always tell you what is, but faith tells you what is becoming. Your circumstances may whisper lack, but faith declares abundance. The world may show delay, but faith affirms divine timing. The doctor's report may read impossible, but faith answers back, with God, all things are possible. Faith doesn't ignore reality, it transcends it. It recognizes that the visible world is only a shadow of a deeper truth, one that is still forming beneath the surface of what you can see. When you believe, truly believe, you begin to align with the creative power that governs all things. Faith is your agreement with the unseen reality that already exists in the mind of God. Every answered prayer, every manifestation, every miracle first existed in that invisible realm before it ever appeared in the physical world. Faith is the bridge that allows that unseen blessing to cross over into your lived experience. Without faith, the bridge remains incomplete. With faith, the bridge becomes solid beneath your feet. Walking by faith means you no longer need to see the entire path. You trust the one who designed it. You take each step in confidence, knowing that even if you can't see the next stone, it will appear beneath your foot at the right moment. Faith is the decision to move forward even when the evidence is not yet visible, because you trust that God is arranging everything on your behalf. Faith is not passive, it's an active stance of certainty. It is holding the feeling of the answered prayer before it arrives. It is giving thanks for the victory before the battle is over. It is standing firm in peace while everything around you seems unstable. The world calls it delusion. Heaven calls it alignment. Faith transforms your energy, your perception, and your outcomes. It magnetizes blessings because it operates in harmony with divine order. When you live by faith, you live in constant cooperation with the unseen hand that moves mountains, parts seas, and opens doors that logic says should remain closed. You no longer strive to make things happen. You allow them to unfold. Faith turns waiting into preparation and uncertainty into expectation. So even when life feels uncertain, keep walking. Even when you can't see the end, keep believing. Your faith is building the bridge under your steps. What begins in the invisible must one day manifest in the visible. Trust the unseen process, because faith has already gone ahead of you and made the way clear. Delays are one of the greatest tests of faith. They stretch you, refine you, and reveal what you truly believe about God's timing. It's easy to trust when everything flows smoothly, but when you're in the in-between, the place where nothing seems to be moving, you begin to question whether the promise will ever come to pass. Yet what feels like delay is not a denial, it is divine preparation. God often conceals his blessings in seasons of waiting, because the waiting is where the real transformation happens. When you plant a seed, you don't dig it up the next day to see if it's growing. You trust the process. You know that beneath the surface something powerful is taking place, even if your eyes cannot see it. The same is true in your spiritual life. When God places a promise in your heart, it takes time to grow. The soil of your soul must be cultivated, your faith must be strengthened, and your character must be shaped to carry your praying for. A delay is never wasted time. It's preparation for divine fulfillment. In the waiting, God works on the unseen areas of your life. He refines your patience, teaches you surrender, and strengthens your trust. If you received everything you asked for instantly, your faith would never mature. The waiting builds depth. It develops spiritual muscle. The delay becomes the classroom where you learn how to depend on God completely. You stop chasing signs and start resting in His Word. You begin to realize that the process is as sacred as the promise itself. What you think is inactivity is actually divine activity. Behind the scenes, God is aligning circumstances, preparing people, and creating the right environment for your blessing to flourish. If it came too soon, it could destroy you. But in the right season, it will sustain you. There's a divine reason you haven't seen movement yet. Something within you or around you is still being aligned. Sometimes God holds back what you desire because He knows it would be smaller than what He plans to give you. When it feels like nothing is happening, shift your focus from frustration to faith. Every moment of delay is building spiritual capacity. It's creating roots deep enough to hold the fruit that's coming. Just because you can't see the evidence doesn't mean it's not unfolding. The seed doesn't stop growing just because it's hidden underground. God hides your blessing to protect it until it's ready to bloom. So instead of asking, when will it happen, begin saying, thank you, God, that it's happening. Praise Him not only for the promise, but also for the preparation. The waiting is not a punishment, it's positioning. Every delay has divine intention. When the appointed time arrives, what once seemed impossible will unfold effortlessly. The door will open, the promise will appear, and you'll realize that the delay was never a detour. It was the very thing that made the destination possible. God is not withholding, He's preparing. And when He's done, it will be worth every moment of the wait. The greatest secret of manifestation is not in asking repeatedly, it's in assuming the feeling of the answered prayer. The moment you believe that what you desire is already yours, the energy of your world begins to shift. You no longer live in lack, but in fulfillment. You no longer pray from desperation, but from gratitude. When you assume the feeling of the answer, you align yourself with the vibration of completion, and creation must obey that frequency. The outer world has no choice but to mirror the conviction you hold within. Belief always precedes evidence. Everything you now see began first as an unseen conviction in someone's mind. Faith works the same way. It's the inner acceptance of the unseen as already real. When you walk around believing that your prayer is answered, you begin to speak differently, think differently, and act differently. You shift from hoping it will happen to knowing it already has. That inner certainty becomes magnetic. The universe rearranges people, events, and opportunities to reflect the energy of that belief. Most people wait for evidence to believe. They say, I'll believe it when I see it. But spiritual law operates in reverse. You see it because you believe it. Your inner state is the seed, and the outer experience is the harvest. If your inner world is filled with doubt, fear, and waiting, that's exactly what your outer world will reproduce. But when you carry the feeling that it's already done, your outer life begins to conform to that assumption. It's not pretending. It's participating with divine creation. Think of yourself as the artist of your reality. The brush is your imagination, and your belief is the color that brings life to the canvas. When you hold the image of your answered prayer and let your emotions match it, peace, gratitude, joy, you begin to live from the end. You're no longer striving to make something happen, you're aligning with what already exists in the unseen. That alignment creates movement in the visible world. This principle isn't about ignoring what's real, it's about elevating your perception to a higher truth. You can acknowledge your current circumstances while still holding the feeling of your desired outcome. You can look at the present and still say, this too is working in my favor. When you live as if your miracle has already occurred, your actions naturally flow from that confidence. You stop worrying, you stop forcing outcomes, you start resting in assurance. Gratitude becomes your daily posture. Instead of asking, when will it happen? You begin saying, thank you, that it already has. That shift from asking to thanking is the mark of true faith. It tells the universe and God that you trust His timing, His method, and His wisdom. So close your eyes and imagine the feeling of the prayer already fulfilled. Feel the peace, the joy, the relief. Let it fill your entire being. That feeling is the bridge between your desire and its manifestation. Hold it, live in it, and soon the outer world will catch up to what you've already accepted within. Believe first and watch the evidence flow effortlessly into your life. Surrendering to the divine timeline is one of the highest forms of faith. It is the art of releasing control and trusting that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. Even when your mind cannot understand the pace or direction, it doesn't mean giving up, it means giving over. It means resting in the awareness that God's plan for your life is far greater, wiser, and more beautiful than anything you could orchestrate on your own. Trusting the divine timeline requires humility. The humility to accept that your understanding is limited, but divine wisdom is infinite. When you truly surrender, you no longer force outcomes. You stop trying to rush what needs time to mature. You stop begging for doors to open before you're ready to walk through them. You realize that divine timing is not delay, it's precision. God's plan never runs late, it runs deep. Every event, every encounter, every pause is perfectly synchronized to prepare both you and the path ahead. The waiting is not wasted. It's weaving something eternal. We often believe we must make everything happen through effort and striving, but real trust begins when you learn to rest while you wait. Surrender is not idleness, it's inner alignment. It's choosing peace over panic, faith over fear, gratitude over anxiety. It's saying, God, I don't know how or when, but I know you do. In that space of surrender, the burden lifts. You stop trying to control the uncontrollable and begin to cooperate with divine flow. Every season of your life has a sacred rhythm. There's a time to sow, a time to grow, and a time to harvest. Trying to force a harvest before its season only brings frustration. But when you trust the divine timeline, you move in harmony with life itself. You understand that what's meant for you will never miss you, and what's not meant for you will never stay. The things that seem delayed are only being perfected. The people who left were part of the pruning process. The opportunities that didn't come through were protection disguised as disappointment. This is why surrender is the bridge between chaos and peace. It transforms waiting into worship. When you stop resisting the timing of your blessings, you open the door for divine acceleration. Ironically, the moment you stop trying to control the outcome is often the moment things begin to flow, because surrender aligns your energy with divine order, where miracles naturally unfold. So breathe deeply and let go of the timelines you've created in your mind. Let go of the pressure to make things happen on your schedule. Rest in the knowing that the universe, under God's command, is not working against you, it's working for you. The invisible forces are already arranging what belongs to you. Your only role is to keep your faith alive, to stay grateful in the waiting, and to trust that when the time is right, everything will unfold effortlessly. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are right on schedule, according to the divine timeline that never fails. Every moment of your life, every delay, every challenge, every breakthrough is part of a divine design working perfectly in your favor. You may not see all the pieces right now, but God does. He's arranging, aligning, and preparing everything you need to step into your destiny. The unseen rearrangement, your inner faith, your willingness to wait, your surrender, these are not random spiritual concepts. They are the tools that bridge the invisible and the visible. When you learn to trust the process, to hold the feeling of the answered prayer, and to release your need to control timing, life begins to unfold with divine ease. What once felt like chaos becomes clarity. What once felt like delay becomes direction. Every event begins to reveal its purpose. So walk forward with peace in your heart. Know that the hand of God is upon your life, shaping every experience into favor. Believe that even now, unseen forces are moving in your direction. Keep your faith steady, your spirit calm, and your words filled with gratitude. You are not waiting for things to work out. They already are. Trust the process, because the process itself is proof that you are on your divine path. Thank you for watching, and remember, everything is working in your favor. Stay in faith, stay grateful, and keep trusting the divine timing of your life. I want to remind you today of a truth so powerful, yet so often overlooked. God is moving things in your favor, even when you cannot yet see it. Life may sometimes feel heavy. Obstacles may seem insurmountable. Doors may appear closed and paths unclear. But let me tell you this: all that you are experiencing is not a sign of defeat. It is preparation. It is the quiet, invisible work of divine forces aligning circumstances in your favor. You see, the mind is the creative center of your life. What you assume to be true, what you imagine with feeling and conviction, shapes the reality you live in. Right now, I want you to close your eyes and feel the victory you desire. Imagine it as if it has already arrived. Feel the joy, the relief, the gratitude. This is not wishful thinking. This is the reality taking root in your consciousness. Faith is not simply believing in what you see. Faith is knowing in your heart that unseen forces are working tirelessly on your behalf. The universe is conspiring in ways too intricate for the human eye to follow. Even setbacks, even delays are part of a perfect plan designed to bring you the very best. Do not let despair whisper lies to you. Do not allow doubt to pull you away from the vision of your victory. Persist in your belief. Speak to yourself as one who has already won. Live each day as though your favor is unfolding, for in doing so you become a magnet for the blessings that are your due. Timing is divine. What is meant for you cannot be denied. Your present struggles are only temporary shadows before the dawn of triumph. Hold fast. Keep your mind and heart focused on the end, the glorious outcome that is already set in motion for you. So take courage today. Stand firm in the knowledge that God is moving things in your favor. Your victory is near. Your prayers are being answered. Your breakthrough is coming. Do not give up. Do not lose hope. The invisible is at work, and it will manifest in your life exactly as you have imagined and believed. Your faith, your imagination, your inner conviction, these are the tools God uses to move the world in your favor. Use them wisely and watch miracles unfold. Everything you see in the world begins as a thought, a spark of imagination that first exists within the mind before it takes shape in the external world. The life you are living right now is the result of countless images, feelings, and beliefs that you have held within yourself. Every situation, every encounter, and every circumstance started as an idea that was imagined, felt, and assumed to be real. The key to understanding this is recognizing that imagination is not merely a tool for creativity or daydreaming. It is the engine through which reality itself is formed. When you vividly imagine something and fully embody it with feeling, your inner state begins to align with that reality, setting into motion a series of events and conditions that inevitably bring that vision into the physical world. It is not enough to simply think of what you desire. Imagination must be felt as true in the present moment. The mind does not distinguish between what is imagined with intensity and what is physically real. When you immerse yourself in the sensation of having already achieved your goal, the universe responds to that inner certainty. Every thought, every mental image, and every emotion you cultivate acts like a signal that attracts corresponding circumstances. If you imagine lack, fear, limitation, you draw experiences that match those feelings. But if you imagine abundance, health, love, or success, with the vividness of absolute conviction, you magnetize your life toward those outcomes. The power of imagination is not a distant concept or a mystical idea. It is the natural law through which your experiences are created. Consider for a moment how often you have relived a memory in your mind so vividly that it stirred real emotions, or how a strong visualization of a future event can bring excitement, nervousness, or even clarity in preparation. This same mechanism works for every aspiration you hold. The more detailed and emotionally charged your mental vision, the more real it becomes to your consciousness, and the more inevitable its manifestation becomes in the outer world. To harness this power, you must make imagination your daily practice. Enter into your desires as if they are already present. See them in your mind's eye with every detail. The colors, the sounds, the textures, and the interactions. Feel the satisfaction, the joy, the gratitude, and the peace of having already received what you long for. Live in the end of your desires rather than in the uncertainty of the process. The universe does not rush. It responds perfectly to the reality you have already established internally. Imagination is your most potent tool for shaping life. It is the unseen workshop where your future is crafted before it ever appears in the material world. By intentionally imagining with clarity, passion, and feeling, you do not merely wish for your dreams, you bring them into existence. What you hold in your mind as truth inevitably manifests outside of you because the outer world is but a reflection of your inner state. Every success, every relationship, and every opportunity begins as a vivid, heartfelt act of imagination, waiting only for your conscious awareness to bring it into being. Faith in the unseen is the quiet, unwavering trust that there is a divine intelligence working on your behalf, orchestrating every detail of your life, even when your eyes cannot perceive it. It is the conviction that beyond the apparent chaos, delays, or disappointments, there exists a perfect order aligning circumstances for your ultimate good. To have faith in the unseen is to recognize that reality is not limited to what is visible or measurable. It extends far beyond the physical realm into the invisible currents of possibility, divine timing, and providential guidance. When you trust in this invisible orchestration, you place yourself in harmony with forces greater than yourself, and this alignment allows miracles, breakthroughs, and blessings to unfold in ways that are often unexpected and far more magnificent than anything you could engineer alone. Life has a way of testing our faith through situations that appear contrary to our desires. A closed door, a financial setback, a broken relationship, or an unfulfilled goal may make it seem as though the universe has abandoned you. Yet it is precisely in these moments that faith in the unseen becomes most crucial. To see beyond appearances is to understand that nothing happens randomly, and nothing is truly wasted. Every event, no matter how discouraging it seems, is part of a larger plan designed to lead you to your highest good. When you hold on to faith in these moments, you are essentially telling the universe, and yourself, that you trust in the intelligence that governs life, that you are willing to let go of control, and that you know the outcome is already determined in your favor. Faith in the unseen is not passive, it is an active engagement of the mind and heart with what is not yet visible. It requires a conscious effort to believe in the reality of your desired outcome, as though it is already present. This means that even when circumstances suggest otherwise, you maintain a mental and emotional posture that affirms the unseen truth that everything is working for your benefit. It is through this steadfast trust that you begin to perceive opportunities, guidance, and answers that would otherwise remain hidden. Your focus on the unseen creates a magnetic field that draws the visible into alignment with your inner certainty. Furthermore, faith in the unseen cultivates patience, resilience, and inner peace. When you surrender the need to control outcomes and instead trust in divine timing, you free yourself from fear, anxiety, and despair. You begin to move through life with a sense of purpose and confidence, knowing that every step is guided, every struggle is temporary, and every delay carries a hidden blessing. By choosing to believe in what is not yet apparent, you align yourself with the forces that will bring your dreams to fruition. Faith in the unseen is the recognition that life is orchestrated with precision, even when you cannot see the threads being woven together. It is the awareness that God, or the infinite intelligence of the universe, is always moving circumstances in your favor, shaping your reality, and ensuring that your desires manifest at the perfect moment. By trusting in the unseen, you participate in a process far greater than your understanding, allowing miracles to unfold naturally, powerfully, and beautifully in your life. Living in the end is the practice of fully embodying the reality of your desire before it has physically manifested. It is the conscious act of assuming the state of fulfillment, victory, or success as if it has already arrived, and allowing that inner experience to dominate your thoughts, emotions, and actions. Many people wait for external circumstances to confirm their success, happiness, or abundance, but in doing so, they invert the natural law of creation. The truth is that the outer world is a reflection of the inner state. When you live in the end, you align your consciousness with the reality you wish to manifest, and the external world must inevitably conform to that inner reality. To live in the end means to immerse yourself in the feelings, thoughts, and sensations of already having what you desire. If your goal is financial abundance, do not focus on scarcity or debt. Instead, feel the peace, confidence, and joy of being financially secure. If your goal is a fulfilling relationship, do not dwell on loneliness or rejection. Feel the love, warmth, and connection as if it is already yours. The imagination, when combined with emotion, creates a powerful vibration that shapes the circumstances of your life. By living as though your desire is already fulfilled, you establish a state of being that magnetizes the necessary people, opportunities, and events into your reality. Living in the end is not merely visualizing a goal. It is embodying it in every aspect of your consciousness. It requires discipline, focus, and a willingness to ignore the apparent facts of the present. The world may show delay, opposition, or lack, but these are only shadows that do not reflect the truth of your inner state. When you persist in assuming the end, you create a magnetic field that draws your desire to you effortlessly. Your thoughts, words, and actions begin to align naturally with the reality you are imagining, and your life starts to move in the direction of your chosen state. This practice also transforms the way you experience life moment to moment. You no longer live in anticipation or anxiety about the future. Instead, you inhabit a state of fulfillment, gratitude, and peace in the present. Your mind becomes a sanctuary of certainty, and your emotions become a confirmation of the reality you are creating. Every action you take flows from this inner state of having, making your efforts more powerful, intentional, and effective. By living in the end, you are not struggling to force outcomes. You are allowing your inner reality to shape the outer reality naturally and inevitably. The power of living in the end lies in its simplicity. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, maintain it consistently, and trust that the external world will adjust accordingly. This is the principle that underlies all true manifestation. The key is persistence and consistency in your inner assumption. For reality responds not to what you think you lack, but to the state you occupy in your consciousness. By living in the end, you take the place of the fulfilled self, and the universe responds, bringing every external confirmation to match the reality you have already assumed within. The dialogue you maintain with yourself is far more powerful than any external conversation you may have. Every thought, every mental phrase, every internal statement acts as a seed, planting the blueprint for your future experiences. Your outer world is a reflection of the inner conversation you carry consistently. If you speak words of doubt, fear, or limitation to yourself, you are setting the stage for experiences that mirror those beliefs. Conversely, when your inner conversation is filled with faith, confidence, and the certainty of your desires fulfilled, your external circumstances inevitably begin to align with that truth. The mind is a fertile field, and the words and thoughts you nurture are the seeds that will grow into the reality you inhabit. Many people underestimate the impact of the silent dialogue within their own minds. We often listen attentively to the opinions of others, the news, or the circumstances around us. But the conversation that has the most influence is the one we have with ourselves, moment to moment. What you tell yourself about who you are, what you are capable of, and what you deserve becomes the lens through which you interpret reality. If your inner speech constantly questions your worth or capability, your external life will reflect uncertainty, hesitation, and obstacles. If, however, your inner speech affirms your strength, your resilience, and the inevitability of your success, the world responds in kind. Your inner world acts like a command center, orchestrating the events, people, and opportunities that manifest outside of you. The words you speak silently or aloud carry vibration and intention. Each affirmation, each declaration, each belief held firmly in thought sends a signal to your subconscious mind, which in turn programs your perception and attracts circumstances that match it. This is why it is essential to monitor and consciously shape your inner conversation. Replace thoughts of lack with thoughts of abundance. Replace fear with trust. Replace uncertainty with assurance. The internal dialogue must reflect the reality you wish to see, for the mind does not distinguish between a vividly imagined thought and an actual occurrence. Nurturing constructive and empowering internal dialogue is not a passive task. It requires awareness and deliberate practice. Begin by listening to the habitual thoughts that arise in your mind. Observe the patterns and notice which ones are holding you back. Then consciously replace them with thoughts and statements that align with your desired reality. Speak to yourself as though you are already the person you wish to become. Celebrate the victories you imagine, affirm the accomplishments you desire, and cultivate the emotional state of having what you want. Over time, this consistent inner conversation becomes a powerful engine that drives your external life. Your external experiences are essentially the echo of your inner dialogue. By shaping your thoughts, nurturing empowering words, and consistently affirming your desired state, you are consciously designing the reality you inhabit. Inner conversation is not merely reflection, it is creation. The life you live tomorrow begins in the words you speak to yourself today. Through deliberate, inspired, and positive internal dialogue, you shape your destiny and allow the unseen forces of life to manifest your dreams into the tangible, visible world. Persistence in belief is the unwavering commitment to hold fast to the reality you desire, regardless of temporary setbacks, opposition, or apparent contradictions in the external world. Life often tests the strength of our convictions, presenting challenges that seem designed to shake our confidence. Doubt, fear, and uncertainty are natural responses to these trials, but it is in these moments that persistence becomes the determining factor between fleeting hope and lasting manifestation. To persist in belief is to maintain a firm, unyielding focus on the desired outcome, knowing with certainty that the result is already accomplished in the unseen, even if it has yet to appear in physical form. Belief is not a passive state, it is an active force that requires dedication and discipline. It is easy to feel confident and faithful when everything is going smoothly, but true persistence is measured in adversity. The world often presents circumstances that contradict our desires, that tempt us to surrender, or that encourage us to question the validity of our goals. To persist in belief under such conditions is to rise above the apparent reality and remain anchored in the vision of what you know to be true at the core of your consciousness. This steadfast focus sends a powerful signal to your inner mind, programming it to orchestrate circumstances in alignment with your unwavering conviction. Doubt and fear are the greatest enemies of manifestation because they fracture the mind, creating internal conflict that is reflected in the outer world. Every time you allow hesitation or uncertainty to influence your thoughts, you dilute the energy of your intention. Persistence in belief, on the other hand, strengthens your inner certainty, fortifying the bridge between imagination and reality. It is through repeated focus, sustained feeling, and continuous assumption of the desired state that your inner world becomes a magnet for external fulfillment. Even if evidence in the material world appears contrary, your persistent belief overrides appearances and maintains the trajectory of your manifestation. Persistence is not blind stubbornness. It is intelligent consistency. It requires you to nurture your vision daily, to dwell in the end of your desire, to feed your mind with thoughts and feelings that align with the reality you intend to create. Each time a challenge arises, rather than succumbing to discouragement, you reaffirm your faith. You remind yourself that the unseen forces of life are arranging the perfect circumstances, that your goal is already realized in consciousness, and that nothing can prevent its manifestation. This continuous, disciplined practice of persistence transforms obstacles into stepping stones, resistance into guidance, and delays into preparation for something even greater than you imagined. The power of persistence in belief lies in its ability to transform your inner state into an unshakable foundation for creation. When you refuse to let doubt or fear dominate, when you consistently dwell in the reality of your fulfilled desire, the outer world is compelled to conform to your inner certainty. The universe responds to the strength of conviction more than to the logic of appearances. Persistence is the secret that turns dreams into reality, challenges into triumphs, and waiting into fulfillment. By holding unwavering faith in what you desire, you create a momentum that carries your vision from the realm of imagination into the tangible world, where it manifests exactly as you have believed. Divine timing and alignment is the understanding that everything in life unfolds according to a perfect, invisible order, a rhythm that transcends human control. The events, encounters, and opportunities that shape your journey do not occur randomly. They are orchestrated with precision by a force far greater than your limited perception. The meaning to grasp this principle is to recognize that your role is not to force or manipulate outcomes, but to remain in harmony with the current of life, to move in accordance with the unseen guidance that is constantly arranging circumstances in your favor. Trusting in divine timing is not a passive surrender. It is an active, conscious alignment of your thoughts, feelings, and actions with the natural flow of the universe. Often we become impatient when our desires do not manifest according to our own timetable. We judge delays as failures, setbacks as signs of futility, and obstacles as insurmountable. Yet these interruptions are rarely what they appear to be. Each delay, each seeming disappointment, is a necessary part of the larger design. They serve to prepare you, to refine your awareness, and to align your inner state with the reality you wish to experience. By resisting the flow or trying to force outcomes prematurely, you create tension and misalignment. By contrast, when you trust in divine timing, you cultivate patience and an inner calm that allows life to unfold seamlessly, bringing the right circumstances into your experience at exactly the right moment. Alignment is the key to working effectively with divine timing. Your internal state, your beliefs, emotions, and assumptions must harmonize with the outcome you desire. The universe responds not to the urgency of your demand, but to the consistency of your inner alignment. When your thoughts, feelings, and expectations are in agreement with the end result, you create a resonance that draws circumstances to you naturally. Misalignment, on the other hand, produces resistance, delays, and frustration, because the energy you emit does not match the reality you wish to manifest. The practice of alignment involves maintaining faith, imagining your desire as already fulfilled, and remaining receptive to the invisible forces guiding your path. Divine timing also reminds us that life is always unfolding perfectly, even when we cannot see the full picture. What appears as delay may be a protective measure, ensuring that the right people, resources, or opportunities arrive at precisely the right moment. What seems like an obstacle may be a lesson that strengthens your readiness for what is to come. By cultivating awareness and trust, you begin to perceive the invisible threads connecting events, actions, and outcomes, realizing that every step has meaning and purpose. Embracing divine timing and alignment liberates you from frustration, doubt, and the illusion of control. It allows you to move with confidence, knowing that your desires are being fulfilled according to the perfect plan. Your task is simply to remain aligned, maintaining the inner state of the wish fulfilled, trusting in the unseen orchestration, and allowing life to flow through you without resistance. When you do this, you position yourself to receive the blessings, opportunities, and miracles that are already set in motion for you. By aligning with this invisible guidance, you discover that everything happens at the perfect moment, and the fulfillment of your desires becomes inevitable, effortless, and beautifully timed. In closing, remember this: no matter what challenges you face, no matter how long the wait may seem, God is moving everything in your favor. Your imagination, your faith, your persistence, and your alignment with divine timing are shaping the life you desire even now. The unseen is always at work, orchestrating circumstances, opening doors, and preparing you for the blessings that are already on their way. Trust the process, remain steadfast in your belief, and continue to live as if your victory has already arrived. Your task is simple: hold fast to hope, nurture your inner state, and allow the divine to manifest your desires perfectly. Everything is working for you, even when it seems otherwise. The breakthrough, the joy, the success, it is all closer than you think. Stay patient, stay faithful, and keep your focus unwavering. Thank you for taking the time to listen and to invest in your growth today. May your heart remain full of hope, your mind clear with vision, and your life aligned with the infinite blessings already being prepared for you. Thank you. There comes a sacred moment when life whispers, "Enough waiting, now it's time." You have walked through seasons that stripped you of things you thought would never leave: people, opportunities, peace, finances. They seemed to vanish, yet nothing was truly lost. Everything that slipped from your hands was not stolen. It was being sanctified, refined, and realigned in the unseen to return greater than before. You are not in a season of loss. You are in a season of divine restoration. God has already set in motion a reversal in your favor. The same power that raised you once will raise you again, but higher. Every ending was an invitation to a beginning beyond your understanding. The pain that broke you was not punishment, it was preparation. The silence you endured was not emptiness, it was incubation. The seeming delays were divine recalibrations, ensuring that when the restoration comes, it will fit your destiny perfectly. You see, restoration begins not outside you, but within. The moment you change your inner perception, your outer reality begins to mirror it. When you stop seeing yourself as the one who lost and start seeing yourself as the one who has been restored, life rearranges itself to confirm your belief. The unseen responds to your faith. When you declare, "Everything I lost is returning to me in divine order," heaven begins to conspire for your good. You don't have to chase restoration. You have to embody it, feel it, see it, know it. Act as though it's already done, because it is. Every tear that fell was a seed. Every disappointment was a planting ground for new manifestation. God never allows subtraction without multiplication on the way. What seemed like the end was the ground clearing for the new structure being built. The very things that were removed were creating space for the extraordinary to enter. This is your moment. This is the hour when divine timing meets divine intention. Everything that felt wasted, time, energy, love, faith is now returning to you multiplied. You are not going backward. You are being realigned with what was always yours. Do not dwell on the past. Speak to the now. Say within yourself, I am restored. My life is flourishing again. Everything I thought I lost has returned in greater measure. When you affirm it in consciousness, creation must respond, for what you accept inwardly becomes fact outwardly. So lift your head. The chapter of lack is over. The cycle of restoration has begun. Doors you once knocked on are now opening from the inside. The opportunities you thought were gone are circling back, renewed, refined, and ready. Love is being rekindled, peace is being reinstated, and purpose is being reignited. This is your divine appointment, not next year, not next month, now. The power that governs all creation is turning in your favor. Everything is being restored, reorganized, and resurrected for your good. Walk as though it's already done. Speak as though it's already yours, because it is. You are stepping into the season of restoration. Your time is now. And restoration is not coming, it has already begun within you. The divine work is not something you are waiting for. It is something that has already been set in motion the moment you decided to believe again. Everything you thought was lost is not gone. It has simply shifted dimensions, moving from the visible to the invisible, from the seen to the unseen, awaiting your recognition. You are not standing outside the process of restoration. You are the center of it. The moment your awareness accepts that life is still working for you, the hidden order begins to rearrange itself in your favor. There is a sacred law that governs all creation. Nothing ever truly disappears. It only changes form. The relationships that ended, the opportunities that dissolved, the doors that closed, they are not your losses, but divine exchanges. What you once held in your hands is now being multiplied in the unseen, waiting for the signal of your faith to return greater than before. Every shift, every silence, every setback was an invisible preparation for a visible comeback. The world will tell you that you need to wait for signs, for evidence, for something tangible to prove that restoration is happening. But divine truth whispers otherwise. The restoration begins the moment you feel it within. When you dare to say it is already done, life begins to echo that declaration. The invisible responds to your conviction, not your condition. As long as you continue to see yourself as broken, life will mirror brokenness. But when you begin to see yourself as whole again, when you stand in the knowing that all has been restored, the outer world must bow to that new inner reality. You are not waiting on God. God is waiting on your recognition. The unseen realm is not idle. It is alive with activity, rearranging, realigning, and restoring every fragment of your story. But it responds to awareness. You must awaken to the truth that you are not the victim of your past. You are the vessel of divine recreation. The seed of restoration is already planted in your consciousness, and your faith is the sunlight that draws it into form. Do not look back at what was, look within at what is being renewed. The restoration has already begun because the energy of life never pauses, it evolves. Every tear that fell watered the soil of new beginnings. Every prayer you whispered in silence set something sacred in motion. You do not need to force the process, you only need to align with it. Speak restoration, feel restoration, believe restoration. In this very moment, the universe is responding to your inner vision. The rearrangement has started. What was once chaotic is finding divine order. What was once empty is being filled. And what was once lost is returning, clothed in new glory. Everything you lost is not gone. It is simply waiting for you to see it again through the eyes of faith. The moment you recognize it, you will realize that the restoration never left. It has always been within you, unfolding quietly, faithfully, and perfectly. Nothing was ever truly lost. It was preparing to return multiplied. Every loss you experienced, every door that closed, every person who walked away, none of it was the end. It was transition disguised as loss. The divine never subtracts without the intention to multiply. What seemed taken was only being transformed, refined, and elevated to meet you at a higher level of consciousness. The universe never takes something away to leave you empty. It removes only what can no longer serve your next chapter. Everything that left your life was making room for something greater, purer, and more aligned with who you are becoming. When you look back on the things that faded, you may see pain and endings, but in the unseen realm, something sacred was taking place. The energy of what you lost was being restructured, its essence purified, its purpose renewed. What once felt like loss was divine redirection, guiding you from what was comfortable to what is destined. Every ending carried within it a hidden promise that what was removed would return, not as it was, but as something multiplied, matured, and magnified. Divine law never takes without giving greater. The scales of the universe are always balanced, though at times invisible to human eyes. When something leaves, something else is being prepared to arrive, greater in quality, deeper in meaning, and higher in vibration. The relationships that ended taught you self-worth. The opportunities that dissolved taught you faith. The silence that lingered taught you stillness. You were not being stripped, you were being strengthened. And in that strengthening, you became ready for more, for the multiplied return of what once seemed lost. Think of it as a seed buried beneath the soil. To the eye, it appears gone, consumed by the earth. But in truth, it is growing unseen, breaking apart to release its greater potential. The process looks like loss, but is actually transformation. So too, everything in your life that seemed to disappear was only going underground, preparing to rise again in multiplied form. You may not see it yet, but the return is inevitable. What was taken from one level will reappear in another, elevated and overflowing. Do not mourn what was, rejoice for what is being prepared. The divine does not withhold, it refines. The waiting is not punishment, it is protection. What is yours cannot be lost, it can only evolve. Every detour, every heartbreak, every delay was part of that divine refinement. The things you cried over are being reborn in beauty. The things you let go of returning with blessing. So release the need to cling to what was. Trust that the return is already in motion. The universe is not empty, it is abundant. It owes you nothing because it is already fulfilling its law, that nothing leaves your life without something greater on its way. What was removed is not gone. It is being refined to return in glory, carrying more love, more purpose, and more power than before. The seeming losses were never losses at all. They were divine investments waiting to pay back, multiplied. ChatGPT said, "You are the vessel of restoration. Everything you seek to regain, rebuild, or renew begins within you. The world outside is not the source of your restoration, it is merely the reflection of your inner state of consciousness. The moment you decide to see yourself as whole again, the universe begins to arrange itself in agreement with that vision. The outer world cannot resist the command of inner conviction. Life always mirrors the truth you hold about yourself. When you see yourself as broken, circumstances will echo that belief, showing you fragments and lack. But when you begin to perceive yourself as restored, as someone who has already risen, already healed, already reclaimed, life must reorganize itself to match that vision. This is divine law. The inner image shapes the outer world. You are not waiting for things to change. You are waiting for your perception to shift. Restoration does not start when the problem ends. It starts the moment you decide to stop identifying with the wound. Within you is the creative power that molds reality. Every thought you sustain, every image you nurture, every feeling you entertain becomes the blueprint of what manifests around you. The universe does not respond to need, it responds to awareness. When you see yourself as lacking, you broadcast lack. But when you declare inwardly, "I am whole, I am complete, I am restored," you send forth an energy that draws everything needed for that reality to take form. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are the creator of experience. The restoration you long for will not arrive through effort alone, but through awareness. It is not about forcing things to happen, but allowing the inner truth to unfold outwardly. You must step into the knowing that the same divine intelligence that created worlds is working through you, as you, for you. The power that restores universes resides in your consciousness, awaiting your command. See yourself as restored, even if nothing yet appears to have changed. Speak as if the miracle has already occurred. Feel as though the restoration is complete, and let that feeling anchor within you. The outer world must obey that vibration. It has no choice. You are the lawgiver of your reality, and your belief is the decree that sets it in motion. Every image you hold in your imagination is a seed planted in the field of creation. The stronger your conviction, the quicker the manifestation. Do not wait for life to prove to you that you are restored. Prove it to life by the way you think, feel, and walk. Restoration is not a future event, it is a present identity. When you embody the wholeness you seek, you attract experiences that confirm it. You become the mirror that reflects divine completion. The outer world can only echo what you hold within. So see yourself whole again. Feel the joy of being renewed, the peace of being restored, and watch as life rises to meet that vision. For when the vessel believes, creation obeys. ChatGPT said, "The delay was divine alignment, not denial. Every closed door, every unanswered prayer, every silent stretch of waiting was never rejection. It was redirection. What you thought was God withholding was actually God preparing. The timing of your life has always been sacred. Even when it felt unbearable, you were never forgotten. You were being positioned. Every delay you encountered was aligning circumstances, people, and opportunities in perfect order, so that when your breakthrough arrived, nothing could shake it. The stillness you mistook for absence was the stillness of divine orchestration. In moments of waiting, the human mind grows restless. You wonder if your faith failed, if your effort wasn't enough, or if heaven turned away. But divine timing is not measured by human impatience. What feels like delay is often divine protection. You may have wanted something prematurely, but God knew that premature blessings can become burdens. The delay was not punishment, it was mercy disguised as silence. It was ensuring that your foundation was strong enough to hold the weight of what's coming. Every closed door was an act of guidance. Had you walked through the wrong one, it would have led you away from your purpose. Those rejections you cried over were actually redirections toward alignment. Life knew what you could not yet see, that some opportunities would have diminished your vision, that some relationships would have distracted your spirit, that some paths would have taken you further from your divine assignment. So the doors closed, not to confine you, but to define you. They closed so that you could be refined in the waiting, so that when the right door opened, you would walk through it in strength and clarity. The quiet seasons too were sacred. When nothing seemed to move, the most important work was being done within you. Stillness is never stagnation, it is preparation. In silence, faith is tested, patience is forged, and character is deepened. What you learned in those quiet moments, how to trust unseen promises, how to find peace without evidence, how to keep believing when everything was still. Those were lessons that shaped your elevation. Without the waiting, you would not be ready to sustain the blessing. The truth is, divine alignment requires coordination far beyond your sight. The universe was moving pieces, shifting hearts, and rearranging events to bring you into harmony with your destiny. If even one moment had come earlier, it would have been incomplete. So every not yet was actually not this way. Every pause was purposeful. Every silence had a sound, the sound of something greater forming behind the scenes. Now, as you look back, you will begin to see that what you call delay was divine timing unfolding in perfect rhythm. Nothing was wasted, nothing was denied. Everything was being positioned to serve your rise. The closed doors made room for better ones, and the waiting seasons made you ready for them. The alignment was happening all along, quietly, faithfully, and beautifully, for your elevation, not your abandonment. ChatGPT said, "The voice of faith must speak louder than memory. Too often we live bound by echoes of what once was. Mistakes, betrayals, losses, and disappointments replaying like a broken record in the mind. Memory has a powerful voice. It reminds you of what went wrong, who left, and how deeply you were hurt. But memory belongs to the past, and if you let it lead, it will keep you anchored in what no longer exists. Faith, on the other hand, speaks from the unseen. It declares what is becoming, not what has been. Faith doesn't consult memory. It consults divine truth. It doesn't look backward. It looks forward. To walk in restoration, you must choose which voice you will listen to. Memory says it's over. Faith says it's only beginning. Memory says you failed. Faith says you are being refined. Memory clings to old evidence, but faith creates new evidence. Every time you choose to speak words of faith instead of replaying old pain, you shift your vibration. The energy of faith calls life into motion, while the energy of memory freezes it in the past. You cannot move into what's being reborn if you keep rehearsing what broke. There is great power in rehearsal. Whatever you repeat, you reinforce. If you continually rehearse your pain, you give it life. If you rehearse your faith, you awaken creation. When you begin to rehearse restoration, when you speak of what is unfolding instead of what is gone, you open the door for miracles. Life responds to the script you keep speaking. So rewrite it. Instead of replaying betrayal, speak renewal. Instead of reliving disappointment, speak transformation. Instead of mourning what ended, declare what's arising. The mind is a garden. Memory plants the past, faith plants the future. You choose which seed to water. Every thought, every affirmation, every inner conversation builds the atmosphere around you. When the voice of faith becomes stronger than the memory of loss, restoration becomes inevitable. Faith speaks in present tense. It says, I am whole now, even when the evidence has not yet appeared. That declaration carries creative power. It begins to rewrite the patterns of your life from the inside out. You cannot enter a new chapter while reading the old one aloud. Silence the echoes of what broke. Let the past be a teacher, not a home. Faith will always call you higher, to believe in what your senses cannot yet verify, to see life as already redeemed, to know that nothing good truly ends. What broke was not destruction, it was transformation. What was shattered is now being reshaped. So stop giving memory your microphone. Hand it back to faith. Let faith narrate your life. Let it remind you that endings are illusions, that rebirth is constant, that every fall was preparation for flight. The more you speak from faith, the more your world will begin to resemble it. Stop replaying what broke. Start rehearsing what's being reborn, because creation responds to the voice that dares to believe again. This is your appointed hour, the moment you've prayed for, waited for, and often doubted would ever come. It's here. The delays, the detours, the long nights of uncertainty have all led you to this divine intersection where purpose meets timing. What once felt out of reach is now unfolding with ease. What seemed impossible is now inevitable. The season of divine restoration has arrived for you, and everything that once worked against you is now working in your favor. There is a rhythm in the universe that governs all things, a divine order that ensures nothing arrives too early or too late. You are now standing in that sacred alignment. The time of waiting has served its purpose. The preparation is complete. The soil of your soul has been tilled by patience, faith, and endurance. Every prayer, every tear, every act of perseverance was not in vain. It was building momentum for this moment. This is the hour where everything begins to make sense. The dots that never seem to connect will suddenly align, revealing a picture of divine intelligence beyond human reasoning. You may not have seen the evidence while waiting, but heaven has been active behind the veil. The same unseen hand that carried you through the valley is now lifting you into visibility. The tides have shifted. The energy that once resisted you is now assisting you. The things that seemed distant are now drawing near. This is not a coincidence. It is divine timing manifesting in your favor. Every closed door that once frustrated you was secretly preserving you for this exact moment of unveiling. This appointed hour is not just about what happens to you, it's about what's happening through you. You have been refined by fire, and now you carry a strength that cannot be shaken. The lessons learned in the silence have shaped a wisdom that will guide your next chapter. The tests that nearly broke you have become the foundation of unshakable faith. You are no longer who you were when the journey began. You are who you needed to become for this season to unfold. Now watch as what you once dreamed begins to materialize. Opportunities that seemed impossible will find you. Relationships that align with your purpose will appear. Finances, favor, healing, and peace will flow where struggle once stood. The doors that stayed closed are about to open, not by your force, but by divine decree. What once seemed impossible is now the natural outcome of your alignment. So lift your head and steady your heart. This is your time, not someday, not eventually, now. The universe has issued its command. Restore, return, renew. The waiting season has expired and manifestation has begun. All that you've endured has prepared you for this unveiling. This is your appointed hour, the hour where faith meets fulfillment, where prayer meets promise, and where every impossible thing becomes inevitable. Some say the season of divine restoration has arrived for you, and nothing can stop what has already been written in your favor. ChatGPT said, everything you've walked through, every loss, delay, silence, and closed door was never meant to break you. It was meant to build you. The divine has been crafting something extraordinary behind the scenes, working through every disappointment, shaping every detour, and aligning every moment to bring you into this season of restoration. What once felt like chaos was actually divine choreography. Nothing was wasted. Every experience carried purpose, every tear carried power, and every waiting season carried preparation. Now you stand at the threshold of fulfillment. The time of waiting is over. The restoration is not coming, it has come. The things that once seemed shattered are being pieced back together in divine order, stronger and more beautiful than before. You are no longer defined by what was lost, but by what is being renewed within you. The divine plan that once seemed delayed is now unfolding in your favor with perfect precision. Walk forward with confidence. Speak faith louder than fear. See yourself not as the one who suffered, but as the one who rose. Everything that left your life is returning multiplied. Everything that felt broken is being reborn. This is your divine turning point. The moment where loss gives way to abundance, confusion gives way to clarity, and hope turns into manifestation. So lift your eyes, lift your heart, and lift your voice in gratitude. The season of divine restoration is not ahead of you. It is here, now, moving through you and around you. Your waiting was never in vain. The promise was never denied. The blessing has found its appointed time, and that time is now. Thank you for allowing these words to reach your spirit. May they remind you that you are never forgotten, never forsaken, and never outside the reach of divine grace. Everything is being restored, fully, perfectly, and beautifully. Your time has come. Thank you for listening, and may restoration overflow in every area of your life.